It's September 17th, 2021. I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and I have a ton of stuff to show you today. We're going to be celebrating National Sewing Machine Month. We're going to be celebrating National Jelly Roll Day, and we are going to celebrate 2022 charity. So I'm going to jump right in and talk to you about our charity quilt that we're going to have for 2022 and give you some of the info. We're going to give more details later as it gets closer, but here is the box that your kit will come in. The only way to get the box is to order the kit. Now this kit is much bigger than last year, so it's more expensive because it has more yardage, and it's also more expensive because yardage prices have increased. So I'm going to show you the whole box, and this is just a prototype, but it is the same exact box you will get. We only have one of these boxes. We already have our charity page set up if you want to start donating, and all of the charity is called Heartfelt, and this is inspired by the back of the quilt. When we have the quilt completely sewn, we will show you the front and back and how we quilted it. But right now, what we have is super awesome. We have the blocks sewn. And we have one of each block sewn just to show you so you can really get a look for the fabric to make sure you like it before you buy it. And when you make the quilt, there are going to be 6 blocks that you're going to make 5 times. And when you make them 5 times, obviously it will be different fabrics, but we're just showing you an example. And I love this sketch print on, and it's going to be used a lot throughout. The fabric collection is called A Beautiful Day by Corey Yoder, and this will be the 2022 charity. We're going to try to raise $100,000. And for everybody wanting the fabric requirements, those will be released when we reach the goal of 20,000. And of course, Kevin and I will donate $20,000, and Mark Dunn will donate $10,000. So hopefully that will get us to $130,000. I think you're going to love this quilt. I do want to let you know that Corey Yoder actually designed it for us. And there is a kit you can reserve that comes in this box, and there is a backing set you can reserve that is a pieced backing. So here are the blocks. They're really easy. It's very beginner friendly, and just like I said, the quilt is bigger than last year, but I love this fabric collection. I'm gonna make lots of quilts out of this fabric collection. And of course, the pattern will be completely free in 2022, and it actually will stay free forever. But we are asking for $50 donation to Make-A-Wish for the quilting. And again, we're going to be showing the quilt when it's done, and we will be showing, this is the background that's white on white that's in the collection. And that will be used a little bit throughout the quilt, but this will be used more. And so again, you can reserve the kit now and the backing set now. Here's the lid. So we have the box. It's so pretty, and I want to show you some more. I also want to show you the cross stitch. So the cross stitch is going to be available for free also. And I want to show you, I think this will be really cool for you to see how we do this. So we always start with our quilt design, and we started adding cross stitch to this charity event so that we could raise more money, so that we could bring in more people and more donations. For our cross stitch pattern, this will also be completely free, and we're asking for a $20 donation to Make-A-Wish on our link. And so we do have a link already in the description box if you want to start donating. And this is the start to our cross stitch design. And we have more information on the cross stitch design on our Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube channel. I would love for you to subscribe to that channel because we do mix in quilting sometimes. But what I wanted to tell you is we're pre-selling an aurifil box that's exclusive to us called Heartfelt, and that will make this beautiful cross stitch that we are in the process of stitching. And the way that we pick our colors is we literally put the thread on the fabric to make sure that we're in the same color family. Now, you're never going to get an exact white, an exact gray, but what you see how nice those play together. So we spend quite a bit of time matching, let me show you some pinks, matching the thread so that everything is going to be based on Corey Yoder's colors and that it will play nicely, and it's going to come in a really beautiful box that you can keep. So that is also being pre-sold. And these are both beginner. The quilt is very beginner because the blocks are really nice and big. And if you want, you can order the Simple Folded Corners ruler by Doug Lico separately. Most of the quilt has a ton of folded corners on the hearts, and so this would be great if you wanted to add to make it quicker. We do have a video on this channel. It's called Simple Folded Corner Ruler by Doug Lico, and you can figure out how to use it with that. And I think it's so fun to be able to see how we take the colors from the designer. I'm just going to pop these in here. And when we get the box from aurifil that these are going to go in, I will show those to you also so you can see how pretty it all looks together. And then I'm going to kind of summarize. It's called 2022 Heartfelt Charity. All of the money that we're raising goes directly to Make-A-Wish throughout the year for the families that we're able to help that would like to be featured. Some don't want to be featured. We will show you, and it will show you what your money actually goes to. Let's see, and I'm going to answer questions about the charity. Hello from Buda, I love hearts. Hello, well, I'm very close to you. Can we get the quilt pattern now? No. So the quilt pattern, everything on the charity starts in 2022. We can pre-order. The benefit to getting the quilt kit pre-ordered, if you order the kit, is you get the entire pattern printed out in advance, and everyone else gets that once a month. And we will go over the schedule, the release dates, all of that much later. Right now I'm just showing you, since we're just at the beginning process of making the quilt. And of course we will have videos to go with it. What is the size of the quilt? It is 76 by 84, so it's rather big. It's similar to a twin, but not exactly. And the reason why it's much bigger is those hearts really look beautiful in that nice big block. And that is why that's why Corey designed it that way, so that she could really showcase those prints. If you can demonstrate more with the ruler, it would be great. It still confuses me. So we can see if Doug can come film some more videos. And of course, if you comment on that video, we can have Doug answer you also. So I think that's about it for the charity. We will have a DMC pack, but we're not pre-selling that. So I'm going to move on to Jelly Roll Day. So National Sewing Jelly Roll Day is the third Saturday of every September, and it is hosted by Moda Fabrics, who is of course the creator of Jelly Rolls. So I'm going to show you this awesome quilt. I'm actually really proud of it. We released this video yesterday. The video is called Jelly Roll Jackpot. And basically what I did is in my home studio in 2.5 hours made the front and back of this quilt. And so we filmed something that is fast forwarded so that you could see how I just made it up on the fly, how I starched my jelly rolls. And this one, it doesn't really have a right or wrong side, to be honest. That's the front. And I kind of just wanted to see how big, I guess my goal in this was to use try to use an entire jelly roll to show you what you can make with a jelly roll. This is Cozy Up by Corey Yoder also, since I love her stuff so much. But my goal was to use as much of a jelly roll as possible for the front and the back with no waste. So, and I also wanted to see how wide I could get it with the length, using the full length. So this is the front. And then on the back, that center piece is a label from the Sweetwater Label Company. It's actually one that came out this year. And I had enough to make this part out of the jelly roll and then this part out of the jelly roll. And then I had two fabrics. I just had some extra fabrics that I had set aside for another one of her kits. So I did have to add two fabrics in addition to this, but it's one jelly roll. It's called Jelly Roll Jackpot. We are having a contest on there, so you got to watch that video, comment, and I would love for you to enter our contest. All the rules are on that video, but it would be fun if tomorrow you just sat down with the jelly roll from your stash to see what you can come up with. And I didn't draw anything in advance. I just kind of went with it, and then when I got to kind of the 40 inches, I kind of had to stop. So I'll show it to you on the table. And this one was quilted by Abby Latimer. And the coupon code that we have is JR21. So between now and this Sunday at midnight Central Time, you can get 20% off jelly rolls at Fat Quarter Shop. So, and the way we wanted to celebrate the National Sew a Jelly Roll Day is to show you lots of items that we have done in the past for free. I also want to refer you to Moda Fabric's website because they have a lot of free jelly roll patterns also. So this is Jelly Roll Jackpot. It is a video and it is just a fly by the seat of my pants. That's the front. This is the back. And so there's not a written pattern, it's just a pattern that I made up in my sewing room a couple weeks ago. So that is Jelly Roll Jackpot. The next quilt I would like to feature is Confetti Stars. This is a free table runner pattern that we released last year, and we actually released it for National Sew a Jelly Roll Day. So I'm going to show you, and we have a video where we show all 6, but today I'm just going to show you 3 of them. So you can look on Fat Quarter Shop's site for Confetti Stars and get this free pattern. And on this one, we use the Grunge Junior Jelly Rolls. And some are in stock, some are out of stock, but they are being remade and expected to arrive in October. The second one is the same thing, Confetti Stars, just a different grunge colorway. And we featured all of these last year. So again, if you want to see all of them in detail, you can go to last September 2020. And then this is the last one from that. And I love showing you all the pantographs that we used. And I believe that Mike at mylongarm.com quilted these. The next item I want to show you is also completely free. It is called a faux pleated pillow. These actually are always in my living room. So this one is Corey Yoder's Apricot and Ash collection, which could be combined with Cozy Up, which I have right here. So these, you know, it's not an exact match, but I will probably have them decorated in my house in a very similar area. So this is Apricot and Ash. And there's a free video for this, so you guys could spend National Sew a Jelly Roll Day on our YouTube channel. And then this one is Bonnie and Camille fabric from last year also. I don't remember the exact pattern name on this one. But these two live in my house, so I'm surprised there's no boogers on them, to be honest. Oops. The next free item I want to show you is called Easy Jelly Roll Quilt As You Go Table Runner. And this will give you 2 runners out of 1 jelly roll. This one has a free video, and this one is great for beginners. And I made both of these. This one was a Vanessa Gertsen fabric, Harvest Road from last year, and that's part of the jelly roll, and then this is the second half of the jelly roll. So you can see, and even in the video I think I even show you how I divided those. And all of this quilting I actually did on my own machine, which is so rare that I do that. Another free pattern that we have for jelly rolls is Jelly Roll Snowflake. We have lots of videos on that series, and we show you how to make each block. So I'm just going to show you the corner of it. And this one features Christmas Figs 2 collection. And these are all collections from 2020. This one features Country Christmas by Ann Sutton. And Mike at mylongarm.com quilted these 3. This one uses grunge fabric, just 2 grunge SKUs. So that one is Jelly Roll Snowflake. And then this one is Jelly Roll Jam. And these are based on one of our first videos that came out. And these have been loved and washed. This one is Harper's Garden by Moda. This is a Sherry and Chelsea fabric. And I wanted to let you know that next Friday is going to be a pre-recorded live stream. And it will be a Jelly Roll Jam reaction video where I go back and look at a video that's 8 years old and kind of comment and just give commentary. I mean, I don't know, I'm not very funny, so I'm not sure how that video will go. But this one is Jelly Roll Jam. And this is also the same collection, just the other half of the jelly roll. So when you have a jelly roll, you should always be thinking of, you don't have to use it in 1 quilt, you could use it in 2. So like if there were twins, you could do a boy and girl version. And Angel made both of these, and Mike quilted both of these. So we're so excited to be able to show you for National Sew a Jelly Roll Day. Lots of free items for you to download at Fat Quarter Shop, and lots of reasons to watch our channel. This one is one of my favorites. This is called Jelly Belly Bars. It's part of our Shortcut Quilt series, and this one is also quilted by Mike. So you can find the free pattern on our site, and you can find the free video. This next one is pretty big. This is postage stamp star. It is part of our classic and vintage series, and so the block pattern is free, and if you want to turn it into a bigger quilt, you can find that as a paid PDF, but I mean, you really only need the block if you want to just do the block. So those are, and this is these are Bella Solids, and the back we used a confetti dot. So now I'm going to answer any kind of questions you guys have on National Sew a Jelly Roll Day, and any questions that you might have on those quilts. We of course have lots of paid jelly roll patterns, but we really wanted to feature free things so that you could grab a jelly roll that you already have in your stash and just print the pattern and be ready to go. Oh, Coriander Quilt says she loves the Cozy Up quilt. Oh, thank you. I was really impressed with myself, to be honest. Like, sometimes I felt a lot of pressure to come up with something cute. And so I was like, if this comes out horrible, I'm going to be so embarrassed. We are getting questions on if you can use triangles on a roll in the Heartfelt quilt. And we will have more information on all of that later in the year. Right now, we're in the process of writing the pattern, and all that stuff will come out a little bit later. How long did I cut the strips for the center of your Jelly Roll Jackpot? So Jelly Roll Jackpot, what I did is I started right here, and this is just a 2.5 inch square. And then I just started adding strips to the side. So this is like 2.5. And then as I went here, I just added and trimmed off. There was no measuring. I didn't try to measure exactly. So I just started with 2.5 inch square in the center, and then just went as I went. Is Abby Latimer a new long arm quilter you're using? I am using her just while Gina had a break. She had a quilt that was too big, and so we used Abby Latimer for a few things, but my main quilter will probably stay as Gina. Can you use a jelly roll pattern, or is it supposed to be something from the top of your head? For the contest Jelly Roll Jackpot, we just want you to make something with a jelly roll, and all the information on that contest is on the other video because I want you to watch it. What am I making on National Jelly Roll Day? I am celebrating that I made this, but everyone else can comment. I just celebrated a little early. Denise said, for the contest, is the object to use a jelly roll, or can you just use a backing? I'm not creative with designs. So it's just, the goal of the contest is to just take a jelly roll and make whatever you want out of it and just have fun with it. When making the jelly roll quilt for the contest, can I use 1 to 2 accent strips? Yes. The contest is more for fun. We don't have like super strict requirements. And then from Crafting a Plan Life, does the quilt have to be finished with quilting and binding? No, it can just be a quilt top. And then Nadine has a great question. Moda names their strips jelly rolls. Is the coupon code for all sets of 2.5 inch strips or only Moda? It's select jelly rolls. So it's the ones that are on the page for the link. Will I be showing your sashing ideas for the Pat Sloan Summer Soiree today? I am going to show you the sashing that I picked for around the blocks, but I have not started piecing it into rows, but I will have that information soon. Is it beginner or intermediate? So I'm not sure, Terry, which quilt, but all of the ones I just showed you are all very beginner. I don't think there's anything complicated. The Charity quilt, I think the Charity quilt is definitely beginner because those blocks are big. It uses corner squares a lot, and that is a very easy technique. So I would definitely say beginner. Deborah Miller says, not quilt related, but are you following Gabby Petito disappearance? Yes, I am. I will say that my phone got stolen yesterday, so I don't know what happened between yesterday and today. So I'm going to be checking that out today when I can get on Facebook. Deborah says, can you use PDF white fabric for the background without dyeing it? Yes, I always use PFD. Okay, so Bella Solid PFD stands for Bella Solid Prepared for Dyeing, and that was made because dyers wanted a fabric that they could dye on that would take and absorb the dye. But it happens to be a great white color, and so I use it all the time, and I obviously don't dye anything, and it's never bled or anything. So I kind of just treat that as just a color. I don't treat it any differently than I would any other fabric. Sharon says that she has a random question. She bought the Breakfast with Santa kit and starts the Jolly Bar. Is it going to work with the pattern? Breakfast with Santa. Email nova@fatquartershop.com and she can look at that pattern and let you know. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Kimberly, Elise would like to know, how is my eyesight? Am I having a speedy recovery? Yes, it's been a rough week. I'll just say that, but I can see much clearer, and so that is super awesome. I'm super thankful that I was able to get the surgery. My other eye will be done on Monday, but just super thankful to be able to see again. So yes and no, I guess, at the same time. I want to give a thank you to all of our super chats from today. We've got Wendy Hansen, Marianne Lucas, Crafting a Plan Live, Joanna Shoemaker, Amy Johnson, and Amy says, thank you. I appreciate all things Fat Quarter Shop. Well, thank you. We appreciate all things customers. Valeria Bauer, I've learned so much from you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for watching. Janet Buster, she says, Kimberly, you're awesome. Thank you. So now I am going to move to National Sewing Month, and this is awesome. I think you're going to love it. So I'm going to show this to you. And for National Sewing Month, which is September, Lori released a new quilt along. And so we've had this, Lori and I have been planning this, and the whole Fat Quarter Shop team. We've been planning this since, I think, February or March. And this is the table runner sewn up. And I'm going to go in detail about how it works, all of the things, so that it makes sense. So, Lori likes to reuse her books. And not just, she's not going to put out a book and then leave it alone and you'll never use that book again. So she's always looking at ways to bring her older books back and use them. So what she did is she did a free setting. We do have quilt kits and backing sets, but she did a free setting, but you do have to buy the book. So a lot of you already have the book. We got some questions on why is the cross stitch paid and the quilting not, but the quilting is, you do have to have the book. So we have a pop-up we can show you, and it's a pop-up of the dates. So this weekend, go ahead and get the star made. I'm gonna show you what I was able to do this weekend in a little bit, and then by next week, do your letters SEW. And then what's great about doing this is we have all the fabric requirements. If you already have a Fat Quarter bundle or Fat Eighth bundle of the stitch collection, you can just buy the coordinates. But what's great about the sew along is it tells you exactly what page to go to so you don't accidentally make the wrong size. And it tells you which size. So you would make 6 inches here and 12 inches here, and shows you how you put it together. And this is an extra block. So if you're a Lori Holt fan, I would print this because it is an extra 6 inch and 12 inch block even if you're not making this sew along, print it out, because now you have a free 6-inch or 12-inch block that you can add to any of her quilts since she interchanges those sizes. And Teresa pieced this quilt, Cheryl attached the buttons, and Gina from Thread Graffiti quilted it. Now the backing is directional, and she just used buttons from her cute little button pack. So this is the quilt. I love the quilting on this. This is the cross stitch. Now the cross stitch is a paid PDF pattern. Paid paper pattern, sorry. PDF pattern will come out 6 months. This one we use the same rickrack in the binding, I think. So the same rickrack. So if you're making the quilt, you can use the leftover for the finishing. And Lori finished this for us, and Dana Gonzalez stitched this piece for us, and then she sent it to Lori, and then Lori used her stitch fabric, and all the information is on that pattern on how she finished it. Now what I'm going to show you is I am sewing along with this, and I posted some pictures in Kimberly's Stitch Squad, and I wanted you to check that out because all of this was done in less than, I think it was about 2 hours total. Cutting, piecing, everything. Because what I did, well, I had everything start the night before. And I would love for you to look at those photos on Kimberly's Stitch Squad. But what I was going to show them today, but my phone got stolen, so I couldn't email them to Jordan to put in the pop-ups. So that's why you don't have photos. And that's why you have to go to Kimberly's Stitch Squad. We have to just make do today. So what I did is I took out my book, I took out my printed pattern, I cut all of these, put them on just really big design boards in different sections, and then I did all of my, I had some half square triangles that I used half square triangle paper for. I did all of those at one time. I did all of my corner squares at one time. And then I started sewing the seams together, and I just kept them on really big design boards and had it laid out where I could just go really fast. So all of this was done in about 2.5 hours, cutting, piecing, everything. And then what I'm going to do is sew the sewing machine tonight. So lots of fun. And I cannot wait to have this one done because I love it. Of course, I love all things Lori. And then I will answer any questions you have on any of that. So let's see. Where can I purchase the Charity cross stitch pattern? So the Charity, everything Charity related will be free in 2022. We're just way ahead of the game, and we do that so that we can start raising money early. And we've already raised $100, so I'm so excited. So whoever gave that first $100, thank you. I'm excited. But it will be free, and all the dates and everything will be released in 2022. I love the cross stitch. How is it attached to the frame? So go to Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube, and we have some videos on how you mount your Aida cloth or your Lugana to sticky board and then hot glue that down. So we've got lots of videos over there showing how to do that. I love the backing. What is it called? If you search So Happy Backing, it will give you the SKU number. So just search that on our site. And Lori picked it. So Lori did pick all the fabrics, the fabric placement, everything, which is what I love about Lori, is she kind of puts everything together where you don't have to think. You just get your kit and you sew, and you know everything's going to look nice. So you don't have to sit and plan, okay, which green do I put on the S? Which color do I put on the E? Which color do I put on the W? And the pattern has all the details for you. Is the star in the spelling book? I can't find it. No, It's on this free download. So what you do is go to Fat Quarter Shop, download it, and print on page 5. So I would print that for all of you, even if you're sewing this, I would print that out and put it, I keep all of my Lori Holt books together. So I would put this and leave it with your Lori Holt books because she will probably use this again in something else at some point. So you just print this out for free. Julia says there are some heavier fabrics like canvas and flannels out. Do you starch these? I would. I have used, I'm trying to think of the name of it, but it is the background of Autumn Wonderland. What is that called? Crossweave. Crossweave. So I do starch crossweave. That's not quite canvas, but I do starch it, and I don't usually use flannel, but I probably would starch it. I kind of starch everything. It's kind of flannel's also stretchier, so I definitely would starch it. I don't have as much experience using those fabrics, but I do know that when I have used crossweave and Essex in the past, I have starched them. How many pillows do you get with one jelly roll? Let me see. Okay, 1. So you're going to use about 30 strips. So you'd have like 10 left over. I hope that the phone got erased. Yes, I have followed her for years. She gave me the poppy cotton. Okay, so yes, my phone got erased. So Emma was with me. And so how it happened, neither of us know. And we're pretty observant. So I'm not really sure how it happened. I have some guesses, but as soon as we realized it, she locked it. So the phone won't be usable for them. Do you think it would work to reduce these to 3.5 and 6.5 for this? So I think it would be pretty hard to do the So Happy and reduce it because that is a lot of different pieces. I think that would be pretty hard. Patricia says, where can I find the acorn cross stitch pattern you used for framing the stem, leaves, and board? The only way you can get it right now is to search Stitch Quarterly and buy the kit. And you'll know that it's the kit because it's got the green bag. Otherwise, the pattern will come out in 45 days. So our Stitch Quarterly members get that first. Carrie L says, random question, do you still put honey in your tea? Was it hard to go from sweet to unsweet? I don't put honey in it anymore because I gained a bunch of weight, and so I was like, no more honey. But you know what the worst thing about not having your phone is? Can't order Starbucks. So I have to figure something else out. I'm gonna have to actually walk to the counter and talk to somebody. I mean, oh my gosh. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I am gonna do it. Angela says she cannot find the Christmas morning layer cake. Do you have alternate yardage requirements to make it from Christmas morning yardage? I like the fabric and would like to use it. So unfortunately, we sold out of all the Jolly Bars and the layer cakes. I'm so sorry. A very similar collection would be Red Barn Christmas. So I think you would get a very similar look from that. Wendy says, oh my goodness, I'm on a roll. I caught floss tube and behind the scenes this week. I wanted to know if there is sashing between the rows for all the trimmings, and I wondered if I should join. Yes, there is sashing, and I am going to show you that quilt up close and in person in a second. So the next thing I want to show you, I'm very excited about. It is a promotion that we are doing with the Stella company. It is a brand new light. So I am going to probably add this to my sewing room. Now the one that I have right now is just a regular Stella. This one is more expensive, but it has a lot to it. So this is a brand new light, and Stella is allowing us to sell it for $50 off through this week only. So the way the light works is this comes with it. It is a chargeable base. And what's great is you can put your phone on it to charge it. And what's so funny is I can't show you because I don't have a phone. So can't demo because I don't have a phone. Oh my goodness. So if you're somebody who has my phone number and texts me, I'm not ignoring you. I just don't get your messages, and the messages are not coming through on my watch either, so there you go. But I'm just gonna have fun with it. But this is a rechargeable base, so it charges a phone or it charges the light. But the great thing is you get 11 hours of light time on one charge. So you hit the button on the back to turn it on. And, sorry, I'm trying to move. Okay, this button right here turns it on. This button right here gives you 3 different color spectrums: warm, natural, or cool. And then these go down and up. And the only reason I'm showing you this on camera is because Stella was so awesome to email Kevin and I and say, hey, we're gonna let your customers have $50 off. So I wanted to demo it. I am gonna take it home. But what you can do is travel with this. So this can go with you from your bedroom to your living room to your car. If you have kind of like a big car, I mean, I would put this in the center console where my drink goes and set it in my car. And it will show you here how much charge you have left. So as you get lower, you will know. But what's great, so this plugs into the wall. This piece plugs into the wall. And you could leave it on its base and just leave it charging when you're using it. I'm going to be using this in my sewing studio, so I'm going to use it in my sewing room. And I already have 2 Stella lights in there, so I'm just going to add another one. So I'm very excited about this. And when you go to our site, if you type Stella Go, you're going to already get the $50 off, and it ends this Sunday at the same time as the Jelly Roll sale. So now I'm going to show you all the trimmings. And I'm excited to show you because I didn't get to show you last week because last week we did a demo. So thank you to everyone who watched last week's demo. Okay, all the trimmings. Every year we do a free Christmas sew-along and free Halloween or fall sew-along. This one is called All the Trimmings. And so this row was released last week. This row was released this Tuesday. What is under here will be released in the next 2 weeks, and then the finishing will be released after that. And what I did do is I put a little swatch of each fabric I used in each row, just so that I would remember which fabrics, and I thought it was kind of fun and cute. So that's something a little bit different that I did with my quilt journal. And this is a Bella Solid. Our fabric requirements that we used are listed on our blog. It is a 5-part mystery for Christmas in July. Now, obviously, we are in September, but fabric has been delayed, so we're celebrating Christmas in September at By Row Shop because we like to roll with the punches. We don't let anything set us back. This quilt finishes at 33 by 38. And there are free patterns and free videos. And I do apologize that our layer cake is now sold out. And this is how our patterns look. So we really like to give you a lot as a customer. I mean, this is completely free. It's not something that we throw together. It's not black and white. It's in color, full instructions, super easy. And we do leave all of our free patterns online forever so that you can always go back. And you know, if your in-laws say, you know, I really want something Christmas, I really would like you to make me a table runner. Well, guess what? You could just make this into a row or this into a row, and it's free and it's always there. So with our free patterns, we have such a good library that if you're bored on a weekend, you can do lots with our patterns. You don't have to put it in the setting. You can just make the block. You can use it in different fabrics. The cross stitch, again, is also shown on Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube, so please go over there and subscribe. And we did the same thing that we did on the Corey Yoder quilt, is we took Vanessa Gertson's fabrics, laid them out, and put Weeks Dye Works and DMC to make sure that our threads match the fabric, so that if you wanted to have a little display in your home, you could have this and this next to each other and it will match and look really good, and we're really helping you decorate your home. Of course, these are completely free. And on this one, we'll have some rows down here, and then the finishing, this is finishing. So this is sashing in between the rows right here. But for our finishing on our cross stitch, we're gonna have a little section here and a little section here to accent it, and that's gonna separate it from the quilt slightly. Okay, so looks like I have a lot of questions, so I'm gonna stop and answer questions before I move on. I haven't even gotten yet today to all the things I was able to sew this weekend, so I'm gonna answer as many questions as I can so I don't get confused. Dolores says she's doing the quilt with 2 charm packs and a jolly bar, and so far it's worked out. So I do know the biggest piece you need is 5 inches, so with a jolly bar you should be okay. Nikki says she's enjoying all the trimmings so much. My youngest daughter has started to quilt because of it. So that's awesome. That's exciting. So Crafting a Plan Live, she says, Fat Quarter Shop and Kimberly, thank you for all you've taught me. Every time I cut, sew, piece, and press, I feel like I have mini Kimberly on my shoulder guiding me. My quilting has improved so much. Oh, thank you so much. And then Anne says, I'm a teaser. Sorry. I have to build momentum. Does the lamp come with a charging station? Yes, it does. And that charging station later, they're going to release that separately if you just want to have that. It's not, they haven't sent it to us yet. Where do I get replacement bulbs? I actually don't know, but Stella Lighting has a website. I would definitely contact them. They have great customer service. Really great guy who owns that, so I'm sure they can answer that. Denise said, how did you sort your jelly rolls into different colorways? So for which one? I probably just put it on the table and just sorted it, and I would say just experiment, and don't be afraid to kind of just put it all on the table. That's what I do, is just look at the table, and then if you get stuck with it, walk away, come back, and when you come back with a fresh set of eyes, it's always going to help you. Like if there's something sticking out, it should stick out to you if you give it a little break and come back to it. Leslie said, will I be getting more pieced backing sets for Roses in Bloom Block of the Month? I ordered the Block of the Month, but can kick myself for waiting to get the backing. So it's sold out. So once they're sold out, they're sold out. You could call customer service and see if maybe somebody didn't pay for one, and they can check on that. Roberta said, whoever took Kimberly's phone, remember God sees everything. Well, I am not a person who has hate in my heart. I am just going to pray for that person that they can become a better person. I just would like to get a new phone, and I did have insurance, so that's great. I had a little deductible, had to pay that, but I cannot wait 2 weeks to get a phone. So what I'm going to do is, hope my kids are not watching, my 12-year-olds and my 10-year-old, they don't have phones. So what I'm going to do is when I get the 12 back, I'm going to save that as a Christmas gift, but I'm just going to go today and try to find a phone because I don't know that I can live without a phone, because I can live without the text messages, but I cannot live without YouTube. That is like, I cannot live without YouTube and Netflix, and so that's how I sleep at night. So I didn't sleep very good last night, but I'm just going to roll with it. I mean, I'm super embarrassed that somebody stole my phone. I'm super, super embarrassed. And Kevin was like asking it, because Emma was with me when it happened, and he's like, how do y'all think it happened? And me and Emma were like, we don't know. Like, we're not dingbats. And one of my sons said, Mom, I thought you were smarter than that. I was like, I know. If one of y'all lost your phones, of course they don't have phones. Only Emma has a phone, but Emma at least knew how to turn it off. we ringed it. We figured out what city it made it to, because it did make it to a city about an hour away. So somebody did deliberately take it, deliberately probably sold it. But I'm going to move on with my life and have a good attitude. Do I have a jelly roll bag pattern? You know, off the top of my head, I don't know, but that's actually a great idea. Maybe we can do that next year. Rose said, I might have to dig out my cross stitch stuff. I love the idea of stitching quilt blocks. What's the name of the cross stitch Facebook group? It's called Fat Quarter Shop Cross Stitch, but my YouTube channel is called Fat Quarter Shop Floss Tube. Linda says, my question is how to cut out a pattern if you want to reverse the direction of the block, such as a wagon or truck that you want to face both ways. I've actually never done that. So I would probably cut it the normal way and then place it on a design board and just move your pieces and then recut what has to be changed. I actually have never done that. That's a great question, but I've never attempted that. Tony said she is looking for a table floor lamp for her sewing room. Also need a good chair for back support while at my machine for hours. Is there a good brand for that? So I use in my sewing room Stella Light for all of my sewing lights. For cross stitching, I use the Halo Go because I do need a magnifier for my eyesight. For chairs, Koala makes a really nice chair, and the ones that I have are now discontinued. But I would go to a sewing machine store. Sometimes those can be very pricey. So just go to an office store and sit in the chair and see, you know, what supports your back better, because every chair is different. Like what I sit in might not be comfortable for Kevin, and what Kevin sits in might not be comfortable for me. So just treat it like furniture shopping and just try it out. Annabelle says, what is the best sewing machine? I need a new one. So I'm going to tell you that I use the Juki 2010Q, but it is only a straight stitch machine. Bernina has a great reputation. Janome has a great reputation, and Brother has Baby Lock. So I would say Juki, Baby Lock, what did I just say? Bernina and Janome. Have I ever tried Tiriel Magic Starch? Yes, and I'm not a fan because it makes it too wrinkly. I love the stiffness, but it does add a wrinkly effect that I'm not a fan of. Tracy said, would Lori consider making baseball type t-shirts from her lines? I miss getting them. We're actually working on a t-shirt for her for 2022 that is going to go along with another event. So I will let her know that you want the baseball style when we have our meeting with her next week. Do I sell the Big Easy ruler by Creative Grids? Yes, I sell every Creative Grids ruler. So if you can, every Creative Grids should be on my site. So now I'm going to move into all the different things that I sew at home so that I can show you in person. And I'm going to first put this one down on the table, and then I will hold it up. But I do want you to see the details. So I love this. This literally is hot off the press. Gina literally walked it in the building like less than 5 minutes ago. So thank you so much to Gina. Now this one, I got the block patterns ahead of time. This is a free sew along American quilter hosted by Lisa Bonjean. She has free instructions on her website as well as her YouTube channel. And so the last 3 blocks that I haven't shown you are block 13, 14, and 15. And I'm not going to focus on the individual blocks this week. I'm going to pop mine up so that you can see them, but I'm not going to focus on them in the quilt. So that is one of the blocks, and I did use H100 and H200. And then the next block, I used H100 for those corners. And then this one, I also used H100. So those are my blocks individually, but what I'm going to show you today is this beautiful quilting and talk a little bit about why I love using Gina for my quilting. And of course, her company is called Thread Graffiti. So right here, I used 1040-42, and that is a Primitive Gatherings Primitive Muslin. Primitive Muslin is the name of the collection. It is actually a normal cotton. It is not a muslin. But look at this quilting. I love how the thread color does not pop out in the block or the sashing. So, and this is going to be a Christmas gift for a friend, so I wanted to go ahead and get it done early. I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to turn it inside out so you can see the other side. It's just much easier. So here you can actually see the detail of the blocks and the detail of the quilting. I love the primitive muslin, and I was pretty nervous about picking the background because it is a gift. I wasn't sure if that person would have preferred a light or a dark, and I was gonna ask someone that knew her, and then I was like, no, I'll just guess. So I just guessed, so hopefully she'll like it. And then I'm going to show I'll turn it this way. So I think it looks fabulous. So y'all should send a big thank you to Lisa Bonjean for offering a free sew along, and she is asking for donations to Hogs for Heroes, which is a nonprofit, and it benefits the area of Wisconsin that she lives in. And then this is just going to be cut in half. I love this quilting. It looks so awesome, and the thread. So I'm so excited. So this will probably be the last time you guys see this. We will take photos of it though to put on the blog in case you want to see the layout. And I just got it done a little bit early. My goal is right now to really start wrapping up the quilts that I have started for this year so that I can finish some of the things that I'm doing personally for my kids. So I would say the key to this was using triangle paper. These are very tiny, and so these are probably like 1 inch finished half square triangles, so super tiny. The only way I was able to get this done was to use triangle paper. I did also use some of the It's So Emma Flying Geese paper, and I did some cheating here where I kind of trimmed as I went. But what I did was kind of complicated, so I wouldn't really recommend it because it was just one of those things that I never really figured out exactly what I wanted, but I am very happy with how it turned out. And then the back is pretty cool. It is, I think I have it upside down though. Yeah, I do. I'll turn it around. So on the back, I used a fabric from the American Gatherings collection. And when I was talking about how I cut things and then made them fit and did weird things, I had some extra pieces left over from both my fat quarter bundle and from my little strip thing that I was trying to do. And so I just put them on the back. And this one, funny story, I made the block completely wrong. So this is a block from the front. And the first time I made it, it came out the totally wrong size because I was trying to convert Lisa's math to Kimberly's math. And this is an example of it didn't work out, but I'm not going to throw it away. So it ended up being the same height as this label from Sweetwater, and then I just made these match. So I do keep while I am making it, and this is not exactly in the center. This is, but this is just a way to, when you're working with something, if it doesn't come out right, you don't have to throw it away. You just put it somewhere else. And I love how it kind of floats in. It's not the same fabric as this, but it just kind of floats. And then on the end, you know, my squares on the end just end up where they end up. And I just make sure it's wide enough. And so this is one of the Sweetwater labels, and this is just kind of how it looks. And I didn't plan to do this on the backing. It's just I had extra pieces, So why not use them? So I'm very, very, very excited to show you that. The next thing I worked on is also free. This one is by Pat Sloan. It's the Summer Soiree blocks 9 through 11. Her website is I Love to Make Quilts, so you can check that out. I'm gonna pop up her 3 blocks real quick. She is using the Figs and Shirtings collection by Fig Tree, and these are her 3 blocks. Her fabric requirements are on her blog. So those are her 3 blocks, and here are my 3. Now this one is this is the fabric I have decided to use from Kitty Corn to use as my sashing around the outside. She has released her finishing instructions. Now I have to convert those because I'm making 6-inch blocks. So this, I just wanted to show you that is my sashing color. I'm not even sure which way this block goes. This one I did change. I wanted to show you that. So see, that's block 11. This was 4x4, so 4 blocks by 4 blocks. But this one wasn't an easy conversion from 12 to 6. So I just made it up and did 3x3 and changed my sizes. So, and Pat won't mind at all. Like, that's what I mean about making a quilt your own, is my quilt's not going to ever look exactly like someone else's. But this is the sashing I'm going to use, and I'm going to be using a cream solid that is a Bella solid. It is left over from something in my stash. So I'm not buying anything, and I don't even know what Bella solid it is. We'll have to compare it to the bolts here, but it's just something I had in my stash. And then when I have this one done, I think I'm going to back it with because it's small, I think I'm gonna back it with a Minky or Shannon fabric. And then the next one that I worked on is also free. It's by A Quilting Life, and this one is a block of the month that she comes out with 1 block per month. She has 2 size options, 6-inch and 12-inch, and last year I did her 6-inch version. So this year I decided to use the Flea Market collection by Lori Holt, which does have bigger prints, and did the 12-inch. So this one will be a little bit bigger, and it's completely free. She also has a YouTube channel and a blog and a website, so check out A Quilting Life. And this is the great thing about the quilting community, is that we offer a lot of free things. The next block that I was able to work on is from our Sew Sampler box. So I'm going to show this by covering up part of it. There we go. I'm going to cover it up that way. So in your Sew Sampler box, you get a postcard. Well, it's bigger than a postcard, but it's a front and a back, and that comes in your Sew Sampler box. So the kits are now sold out. This is designed by Sherry McConnell, the same designer from the Quilting Life BOM that I just showed. This is her fabric. And then I made a block from Christmas morning just to show you how, when you get a pattern like this in your Sew Sampler box, you can do it with fabric in the kit, or you can use your own fabric. You don't have to use the same thing. And all the fabric requirements for this are on the Jolly Jabber blog. And after each Sew Sampler member gets their box, like 10 to 15 days later, we put the pattern for sale on the website. So if you're interested in this one, it is called Bright Side Quilt Along. And now I have 2 more quilts to show you that are completely finished. And it's going to be very exciting to be able to take these home. The first one I'm going to stand up and do, but Okay, so this will go down. This is the red sampler quilt along that Lori Holt hosted this year using a variety of her books. This one was quilted by Abby Latimer of Latimer Lane Quilts. She has an Instagram also. And this one was too big for Gina's long arm. So there's my quilt finished, but I want to show you the back also. Hold on a second. Okay, so here's the back. So on the back, I took a I took a Socialite block that Lori designed that was a different size than the other side. Used the same fabric and put that with the backing. So it's just in the center, and I will show you on the table how the label looks. So here, I took one of the labels that just has my name and sewed it in to the label. So that is the red sampler quilt. Now, any information on the red sampler quilt can be found on Lori Holt's blog. And this was, I used the red fat quarter bundle that's actually back in stock. It's called Red Sampler Bundle Lori Holt, and it's all of her fabric, so that's actually what I used. The next quilt is also Lori's, and it's hot off the press. Gina just brought it 5 minutes ago. And this is the Sew by Row Block of the Month. The pattern is the Sew by Row pattern that was published by Riley Blake for Lori. And I was doing this as a block of the month and showing you my blocks, but I wanted to go ahead and finish it so that I have time to finish up my other blocks. So if you're in this block of the month, I believe it's now sold out, your quilt is gonna look this beautiful. And I'll show you the back also. So on the back of this one, let me see if this is this 108-inch wide fabric? I think this is 108-inch wide fabric. And what I did is just added fabric to the outside and then sewed it on top. So that is done. And then this one was quilted by Gina of Thread Graffiti, and I love the quilting on it. You can see the detail of it here. I'll put the detail. So it's really nice to feel like I'm getting a lot of things kind of wrapping up for the year and able to focus on some different things, you know, that I need to kind of wrap up. And then we're going to feature a blast from the past. And this is where I went through my house and just found some old quilts. Now, this is an old fabric by Three Sisters. I think it's called Peace on Earth. I know I didn't make it because it's applique. I almost think I either bought it from Anne or she gifted it to me. And it is so pathetic that I don't remember, but I don't. And I was going to call her yesterday to ask her, but I didn't have a phone. So this is just one of the quilts that I found. So yeah, so I know I definitely did not make it because of the applique. And here, and it also has custom quilting, and I usually do pantograph quilting. Okay, so I still have a ton more to show you guys. I'm gonna save some of the stuff to next week because I have shown y'all so much. So we've got a lot of new quilt kits in, but, well, actually I have to show them today because next week is a premiere. I'll show them in a second. Okay, so Beverly said, Kimberly, did I use the same fabric for washing in the red sampler along, or was it scrappy? The same fabric for washing. Trying to think of what that means. I used all of Lori Holt's reds. I didn't wash it ahead of time. So I hope that answers your question. If not, just pop it back in. Lori said, your red sampler quilting and quilt are beautiful, Kimberly. It's so fun that you put it together at my house. Yes, I did put it together at her house because Lori was awesome and told me exactly where to put the blocks, because that saved me a ton of time. So thank you to her. Beverly Browning, did you see the last label? Did I sew the last label on by hand or machine? I assume before you had it quilted. So yes, anytime I give my quilt to my quilter, I try to have that label already on there so the quilting is on top of it so somebody can't just unpick it and take it off. And I always sew those down with machine. How do you put a label on the back of a quilt using minky fabric? Well, I use the method that I've shown a couple of times, but I just sew it down by machine on top. I just piece it. I take a label, add a border to it, fold it under with the hot hammer or hot ruler, either one, and just sew it down. How many hours a day do you actually quilt? And on that, if you are a YouTube member, if you go to the community tab, I did do a video on that. How many hours a day do I actually quilt? So I actually quilt Friday nights and then Saturday and Sunday, so at least 8 to 10 hours a week. Sometimes a lot more, sometimes less. I usually don't get to quilt during the week. I have 4 children. Emma's on 2 dance teams. 2 of my boys are on 2 basketball leagues, and then one of my sons does 1 basketball, and then one of the sons does drum lessons, and one of them does, what does he do? Piano lessons. So, like, I'm not home very often. Dana said, will I still be reordering Christmas morning yardage that have sold out? If it is in stock at Moda, most of it is discontinued. So, most of it won't come back in. Do you know what thread color Gina used for quilting? No, but her website is, just go Google Gina Tell of Thread Graffiti, or and her email address is on there, or you can find her in Kimberly Stitch Squad, which is a Facebook group, and she will answer any of those questions. Oh, okay, so Beverly was asking about sashing, but I got to remember what her question was. Oh, did I use the same sashing? Okay, for the sashing around, I used an assortment of the same fabrics, but I did not match. Like inside the block, I did not match the sashing. I just did random. It was all random. I like the quilting panto. What design is it? I think most of the ones I showed today are Baptist Fan, but I have listed who the quilters are, and you can contact them. And a lot of people will just send the quilt and say, quilt it the same way you did Kimberly's. So they keep notes of it. What line of fabric did I use from Fig Tree? Or what line of fabric did I use? I didn't use any Fig Tree on anything I showed today. So Anita, if you can tell me what project that you're asking about, I can tell you the fabric, because I don't think I used Fig Tree on anything today. Debbie asked me if I could share how to convert sizes. That is not something that's easy. What I do is I sit and hand draw it out, and I do the math on a calculator. There's not like an exact way to do it. I've just learned from experience and from putting together Lori Holt's books. You know, she does a 6-inch size and a 12-inch size, and I proof all of those books. And so just proofing those books has taught me how to do it. It's not something that I think is like really easily teachable. Linda asked if I wash my quilts. I don't. The ones that my kids use, I will wash, and when I wash them, I will do it on the delicate cycle, and then I will hang them to dry outside. I don't like when the quilts get crinkly. Those to me, they drive me nuts. What batting do I use? I use 80/20 Quilter's Dream. Can we use a junior jelly roll for the contest? Yes. Is the quilting design on your jelly roll Jackpot the Baptist fan? Yes. There are several different people who sell those pantographs though, so you'll have to ask Abby on that one which exact one she used. Crafting a Plan Life asked, how did I piece the top and bottom sections of your American Gatherings backing? So I actually just hand drew on a piece of paper what size I needed for the top, what size I needed for the bottom, what size I needed for the center, and I just drew it out to make sure it was 5 inches on each side. I don't have the exact measurements, but when I do those things, I just start by drawing out the size of the quilt, the size of the backing I need, and then back into the numbers. And I'm always using a calculator, and it's not something that, it's just something I kind of wing it. Joy said, how long does it take to charge the Stella lamp? I don't think very long. I don't know the exact answer, but it's not long. Deidre said, wow, gorgeous. What is the blue background? 1040-42. Karen says she loves the light. How long does the battery itself last in the light? 11 hours. Will it stop taking a charge over time? No, and it does come with a warranty, and you can find all that information on our site or on the Stella Lighting website. Kim asked, how many blocks of the American Quilter would you suggest for a lap quilt? Thinking of a wheelchair or recliner size quilt. You could do 3x4 or 3x5 or 4x5 or 4x6. That would be another thing that what I would do is I would literally just draw it out by hand and write my math, and then, you know, I'd probably draw one that's one size, one that's another, and I literally would just draw like little squares for the blocks, and I would just calculate it with a calculator and then kind of write the size underneath it and then decide what I think would be best. So it's always me drawing. I'm not great at drawing, but it's always me there's not like a right or wrong. It's just, I would just draw it out and see what you think works best. Karen asked, is it difficult for a long armor to center a quilt block or label in the center of a backing? Depends who your long armor is. So it depends if you trust them. Gina does it wonderfully. So I can testify that Gina does it wonderfully. That's all I can say. I can't testify for anybody else. So I guess that's my answer. I don't know. I can't answer for every long armor. Deidre asked, when is the sew along with Pat Sloan and the Animal Fall quilt? Can't remember the name. Autumn Wonderland. It went online yesterday, and Pat Sloan was mailed her kit like yesterday, so she will start announcing all of that, but it's called Autumn Wonderland. Has Lori Holt ever designed a Christmas collection? Yes, it's called Cozy Christmas. We do have it in stock. We do not have fat quarter bundles right now. We hope to have some later in the year. And she has a book with it too. So the book is called Vintage Christmas, and the collection is called Cozy Christmas. I think I'm close. Okay, Anita asked, with sewing with jelly roll strips, do I start the strips on either end of the project? No. What they do say is if you are sewing like a bunch of rows together to alternate your strips, but because I starch, I don't keep track of where it comes off the jelly roll, and when you'll see when you watch my video that I released yesterday, I just kind of grabbed from whatever. Jacqueline asked if I am going to offer the sampler panels and the threads that bind as a bundle or individual panels, and can I list the full panels so they can be completely seen? We're going to sell them as individual panels, And we are going, some of them are going to be sold by individual panels and some are going to be sold as yardage. And I don't think they're going to be pre-cut, so that I think if you order more than one, you can get more than one. I would kind of wait until that arrives and email elva@fatquartershop.com just to make sure that I'm telling you correctly. Laura Cox. Every time I see your name, it's awesome because Emma's best friend's mom is named Laura Cox. And I know that you're not her because she doesn't know how to sew. What is the background fabric for the Fig Tree Autumn Woodland Wonderland? I don't remember the exact SKU, but it is a crossweave Moda. When does the quilt along start? And I hope you'll be doing video demonstrations. So the quilt along is going to start soon. I'm not going to do videos on that one. So sorry, but I'm not on that one. I'm going to give a thank you to some super chats, and then I'm going to show you some more quilts because, you know, like, I really want to be able to show you all the quilts. So Jody Murphy says, thank you, Kimberly, and everyone at Fat Quarter Shop. You're awesome. Thank you, The Bothola, and thank you, Twyla Stone. Your free pattern selection is amazing. Thank you. And Randy says, cheers to Kimberly for positivity. Thank you. And Julie Borders, thank you for sharing all you do and teaching what you know. You have really helped me improve my piecing. Thank you. And then Seams Stitchy Floss Tube. Hi, Kimberly and staff. I enjoyed your Jelly Roll sped up sewing video. Can you tell me if there's a pattern for my scrappy block spool hanging in your sewing room? Yes, that is called Threadology. That was our charity quilt for 2018 or 2019, and it's completely free, and it's on our site. Just search Threadology and it will come up. And now I'm going to show you some new kits that we're offering, and I'm going to show them folded in fours just so that's easier to see the quilting. This quilt is called Paper Chains. It is the free pattern that comes with your Jolly Bar, or you can buy the kit. It's called Paper Chains. The fabric collection is Red Barn Christmas by Sweetwater. And this is a background from the collection. The next quilt is also a Jolly Bar quilt. This one is called Over the River Jolly Bar quilt, and it uses the Cranberries and Cream collection by Three Sisters. And so this is the same thing. If you buy the Jolly Bar, you get the pattern, or if you buy the kit, you get all of that plus the background and binding. There's the backing. And this one is, oh, delicious. This is Lantern Lights. And this is an It's So Emma published paid pattern. So you can either buy the pattern as a paper pattern or as a PDF. It uses the Boudoir collection by Basic Gray. And I remember showing you guys this quilt before it was quilted. So if you're interested in seeing that, that's on a previous live stream. But this is a quilt that I would say requires half square triangle paper. And this is amazing. I think this would make an amazing table runner, like if you need a skinny table runner. And here's the backing. But this is, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I'm going to show the other side too. So this would be for the advanced and the not weak of heart, is what I would say. This next quilt has been very popular. This is a free video and a free pattern. It is called Starry Charms. It's a shortcut quilt. It uses Little Ducklings by Paper and Cloth, which is a new designer for Moda. And on this one, it uses charm packs, so if you cannot starch for this pattern to work because it uses the full charm pack. So now we have the kit available. We launched the video about 2 months ago. The kit just came in later than expected, and I love the fabric collection. I think it's great. A great So sorry. And then we offered on this one an alternate option in our video. So if you bought the kit, of course the backing doesn't come with it, but you could also turn that into a receiving blanket. And so there's an option for that. And then the next quilt is designed by It's So Emma. This is called the Festive Table Runner. Now the pattern Festive comes in several sizes. This fabric is Warm Winter Wishes by Holly Taylor. We did the kit in a table runner size to do something different. So this is available as a kit, a paper pattern, or a PDF pattern. And I wanted to let you know that next week we are going to be having a YouTube premiere on both channels. So both videos next week will be pre-recorded. They will still come out as live so that you can still comment with all of your friends. And it is going to be a Jelly Roll Jam reaction video. I want to give a thank you to all of our new members, and I do have a couple more questions to answer. So our new members this week are Annette Moya, Molly Wagner, Gay McGee, Gail Paul, JAC365, and Sharon McGregor. And so all of the members, they get coupons, they get different behind the scenes videos, and all of that information is on YouTube. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions that have come in. Katie asked, what pink could I use for the charm quilt with little ducklings to make it a baby girl quilt? I don't know if there's any pink in it. Sorry. I don't know that I would use pink. Well, there's a tiny bit of pink. I don't think I would use pink, but I think it would look bad. But there is a tiny amount of pink, but I think that it would be too strong of I don't think there's enough pink within the prints for a pink. I think it's going to clash. Carol asked, did Kimberly decide on a sashing print for sampler spree? No, I have not, because I still have 3 colorways left to finish, 3 weeks left. So I have the browns, the pinks, and the gray blacks. So when I get those done, then I will pick, but I have not, and I will finish it this year. With those, what I like to do is spend a full 8 hours doing those. So maybe I can do that next Friday or something, get caught up. I have to have a lot of time, like a lot. And so since my kids are all back into the swing of like sports, band. Oh, I did forget my son Will plays clarinet also, but he does that during school, so I don't have to drive him anywhere. But I mean, I'm like never really home, so I have a little bit less time these days. What background fabric did I use for the cranberry and cream quilt? Let me see if I can find it. It is from the collection. So it is the background from the collection. So I would just go to cranberries and cream and look for the background. So it's the cream on cream or white on white, but it is from the collection. It's not a Bella. Will the spooky special box be Halloween or fall themed? I cannot tell you, but the image when we release it should give you a hint. I don't like to say too much. Susan Luttrell, will I be selling the cookbook collection by Lori Holt? Yes, absolutely. We sell everything Lori Holt. Thank you guys for watching. I'm so glad that you sat and chatted with me today. I had so much fun with you guys, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. And I will see you next Friday in the chat. See you then.